good afternoon. My name is Sabine and I'm going to guide you today through about a 20 to 25 minute short yin fusion practice working on the hips. As always, please make sure you check on my website the waivers for liability, and also please remember this is your practice. Make any adjustments, anything that you need to do to meet your body where it's at in the present time. If you're ever unsure if you should be doing this practice, please make sure you get medical advice and medical help. Let's get started today in a child's pose. If you have a blanket, you might want to bring it underneath your knees. It just feels good. Also, if you have some blocks, you might want to keep them handy for later in the practice. With yin, we are going to be in poses and holding them a little bit longer. Yin is usually done more and with a cold body, working into the plastic tissues. We are going to start on hands and knees. Your knees can be either together or about hip-width apart, wherever you feel comfortable. And then sink back slowly onto your heels. If you need a block or a pillow or something between your heels and your buttock, please feel free. And then glide your arms out, stretch your fingers forward into child's pose. Your head can rest on a block, on a pillow, or on the mat. And we're going to be in this pose for about a minute to a minute and a half. And I'm inviting you to come to stillness and just focus on your breath. If there's any sensations, scent the breath. The only sensation we do not want to experience is pain. If you ever experience pain, please come out of the pose or make any adjustments. Totally relax into this pose, no straining, just being. Relax your jaw, your mouth, your forehead, and just focus on your breath. This practice is more a calming, soothing practice as part of our spring challenge of 30 practices before April 1st. You can do that any time of the day. And then slowly bring your hands closer underneath your shoulders. Come back up onto hands and knees. Tuck your toes and walk your hands out. And we come into active child's pose. If this is uncomfortable for your hips or for your shoulders, feel free to have any blocks handy to put your hands on, or put a block underneath your face or a pillow. Whatever makes this pose more comfortable for you. And we're just going to be in this pose for a little bit here, for a few breaths. If you breathe actively in your upper body. Let your wings spread. Just let go. And then slowly untuck your toes, walk your hands back, come onto hands and knees. engineering movement you need to do. Wiggle your shoulders, wiggle your hips. And then we're going to tuck our toes under one more time and peel our hips up and lift them towards the sky. Might want to pedal out your feet just a little bit in this first downward facing dog of the practice. And just come to stillness. The elbow creases shine forward. All 10 fingers are pressed into the mat. And then take a breath and on an inhale, bring your left leg forward on the outside of your left hand and drop your right knee down, untuck your toe and come into this lizard lunge. If you have a block handy, sometimes it feels good to use a block to put your hands on to relax the shoulders. And there's just no doing. We're just going to sink into this pose. And with every breath, invite the inner groin to soften. Just send your breath wherever you experience tightness. And then slowly push through your hands. Bring your left foot back to meet the right. And come back into child's pose for just a moment. Your knees are parallel. Can be about hip width apart. And just take a breath here. Very, very slow movements. And then come back up for hands and knees. Tuck your toes, peel up your hips and push yourself up into downward facing dog. Your knees can be bent or straight, whatever is in your practice today. Check in with yourself that the second part of your fingers is pressed deeply into your mat. You might want to shake your head yes, no to release through the neck. And then on an inhale, bend your knees and step the right foot forward on the outside of the right hand. Bring the left knee down, untuck the toes, and come into lizard lunge on the other side. Again, if you feel comfortable in that pose and would like to use a block, that's just fine. Just hold that pose for a few breaths, and wherever you feel tightness, just send the breath. Remember, this is your practice. And then slowly walk yourself back. Bring your right knee to meet the left. hands underneath shoulders, and then you might want to walk your knees about mat width apart. Your toes are clicking together, and sink back onto your heels and let your arms glide out and come into this wide-legged child's pose. If this is uncomfortable on your knees or your hips, you can, or your lower back, you can always bring your knees back together, which creates a nice shelf. Your thighs create a nice shelf for your upper body to rest on. Whatever version you choose today is perfectly fine. Just focus on your inhale and exhale. No forcing. You might want to check in with yourself and just notice if there's any differences from this child's pose to the one when we started off. And then bring your hands back, walk yourself up. You might want to, if you have a blanket, remove that as we're going to flow through a few standing poses. Come onto hands and knees, tuck your toes, and then peel your hips up towards the sky in downward facing dog. Again, you might want to walk your dog a little bit, maybe come onto your toes or press your heels down, and eventually come to stillness. And on an inhale, put a generous bend in your knees and step, hop, walk, whatever. Make your way into a forward fold, Uttanasana. Let your upper chest rest heavily on your thighs. Just let everything hang. And then press deliberately with your feet into the ground. Push the ground away and come up into standing, into Uttanasana. And from here, we are going to flow through 2 rounds of half sun salutes. We come into a good standing position. Both feet are pressing down. All 4 corners of your feet, shoulders are away from the ears. Spine is straight, gaze is soft. Inhale the arms up, gaze up. Sit back in chair pose. Hinge at your hips, forward and fold, Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Press your feet down, root to rise. We're going to do this one more time. Inhale, circle like the sun. Chair pose, sit back, check in that you can see your toes. Hinge at your hips, forward and fold. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Press down through your feet, root to rise. Uttanasana. And we are going to add on. Inhale your arms up. Chair pose. Exhale, forward and fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands beside your feet. Right foot steps back. Left foot steps plank. Hold the plank pose for just a moment. Pull your belly button towards the spine. Drop your knees. Hinge at your elbows. Lower yourself down onto your mat. Elbows are away from the shoulders are away from the head. Elbows are by the chest. Inhale up, cobra. Press through the tops of your feet. Exhale back down. Push up from hands and knees or plank. Come back into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Make any adjustments you need to do. Inhale, right foot steps forward, left foot meets right. Uttanasana, root to rise. One more time. Inhale the arms up. Chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back. Right foot steps plank. Hold plank pose for just a moment. Strong arms, strong legs. You can always drop your knees. And drop your knees. Hinge at your elbows. Come down onto your mat. Elbows are tucked in by your chest. Inhale up, press the tops of your feet into your mat, cobra. Exhale, come back on your belly, push yourself up from hands and knees or plank into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Left foot steps between the hands, right foot meets left. Hang deeply over your thighs, forward fold, Uttanasana, root to rise, Tadasana. Inhale your arms up, interlace your fingers, exhale, hinge, come over to the right, standing half moon, inhale back up. Exhale to the left. Nice stretch through the side body. Come back into Tadasana. And we're setting up for figure 4, our balancing pose for today. Bring your hands on your hips. Bring your weight into the left foot. Inhale the right leg up. Right leg comes over the left knee. Sit down if that's in your practice, standing figure 4. Take a breath here. Find a drishti. One more breath. Come back out of the pose with control. Wiggle your toes a little bit. And now let's do that on the other side. Bring your weight into the right leg. Lift up the left knee. Left foot crosses over the right knee or right thigh. And sink into that figure 4. If you fall out, just say, so what? Come right back in. The pose will always be there and waiting for you. And then find a drishti. It's hard to talk doing it at the same time. And not every side's the same. Both sides could be very much different. And then slowly come back out. Both feet meet the ground. Let your hands glide down. And take a moment to stand still. Be a mountain. Become a mountain. Rooted deeply with your feet. Pressing deeply down onto your mat. And then from here, we're going to make our way back down onto the floor. Inhale your arms up. Hinge at the hips. Uttanasana, forward fold. Exhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Inhale, plant your hands. Left foot steps back. Right foot steps downward facing dog. And then from here, bring your feet through and we come into the staff pose for just a moment. Pull your shoulders away from the ears. The toes are engaged, pointing towards you. Chest is out. Collarbone widens. Spine is straight. Sitting, pressing firmly down on both sits bones. And then from here, slowly bring your left leg in and bring the left sole of the foot inside of the right side of the thigh. Sit up straight. Inhale the arms up, hinge and fold forward. If you have blocks, it's always optional to have blocks for this forward fold, to have your hands on, or bring your hands besides the leg. This is important that we hinge forward out of the low back and not so much reach with our arms. Think nose to toes. Couple more breaths here. And then slowly come back up. Bring the left knee up and plant the left foot up over the right leg. Sit up straight. Bring the left arm behind you and kickstand it. And the right arm can either come on the outside of the left knee or just hug the left knee. And coming to this nice twist to the left side. On every inhale, think about straightening through the spine. And on the exhale, twist a little deeper. The right foot is engaged, the toes are pointing towards you. And then slowly come back up to a gentle counter twist just to uncoil the spine. Bring the left foot out and bring the right foot in on the inside of the left thigh. Sit up straight. Again, inhale the arms up. Hinge at your hips, forward and fold. And every side's different. Keep the toes of the left foot engaged, pointing towards you. Think nose to toes. Hinge at your hips. And take a few deep inhales and exhales. Make sure you relax through the shoulders and the jaw. And slowly come back up. Bring your right foot in and cross your right leg over the left on the outside. Kickstand your right arm behind you. Your left arm can either hug or hook on the outside of the right knee. Sit up straight. Both sits bones are firmly grounded into the earth. And the gaze is slightly over the right shoulder. Inhaling length, exhaling twist. And then slowly come back out. And we're going to make our way back onto the mat. Bring your feet in front of you. Hands are behind the knees. And if you have a weak lower back or any back issues, please come onto your back by using your hands and roll to your side. If not, let's use 2 to 3 breaths to slowly engaging your abdominals, rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae. Shoulders and head comes down first before the feet come out. Ever so slowly. Tuck your chin. And then come down, let your feet fall out, just relax for a moment. Take a deep breath in, and then bring the feet about hips width apart. Bring the heels as close as possible to your buttock. Setting up for bridge pose, bring the palms of your hands down besides the body. And then inhale, peel your back off the ground, one vertebrae at a time, coming into bridge pose. You might want to walk your shoulders a little bit closer towards your spine to create more space in the back and the neck. And take a few breaths here. Resist the first temptation to come down. If you need to come down, come down. If you can't stay up for another breath. And then slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, come back down. Small of your back touches down first before the pelvis. Inhale your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice hug. And then bring your feet back down onto the mat. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees drop open into Supine Badaknasana. Palms are facing up besides the body, or for an additional stretch, you can bring them overhead. Roll, walk your shoulders in again to open up through the collarbone and the chest. Relax your jaw. If you need blocks underneath your knees or any other props, please help yourself and do so. Few more breaths. And then slowly glide your arms, if you had them, up besides your body, palms facing out. Might want to guide your knees together with your hands. Bring your knees just for your feet just for a moment about mats width apart, and let your knees drop into an active child's pose, active Shavasana, resting pose. And you can just stay here, or you might want to glide your feet out. Let the ankles fall open and come into Shavasana. And come to total stillness. Melt your body in onto your supportive surface. And take a moment, just be. And then slowly, you might want to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, flutter your eyes open if they have been closed, and come to your favorite side. And make your way up very slowly into a seated position. For the final breath together. Inhale the arms up and let them glide down, and then exhale into your heart center. Namaste. Thank you for your practice today.